Today we are looking at 5 of our most popular YouTube videos of the year. We've actually grown a lot on YouTube and Instagram this past year, and we could not have done it without you. You feel like family, and we just love having you here. In fact, if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, many of you have, but I'm always surprised with how many people watch our videos but who aren't subscribed. So if you wouldn't mind just hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell, you won't miss any of our videos going forward. At the very end of this whole video and this whole countdown of top videos, I'm going to give you some previews of new content that's coming out very soon. So we have 2 new episodes in particular I'm really excited about. And I'll tell you about that at the very end of this, after we do the countdown 5 through 1. Number 5 on my list is one of my favorites. I had the honor of interviewing my mother and my only sister, and we talked about how mom was able to afford feeding this many children on a tight budget. We also talked about Thanksgiving, and it was a really special episode. Just a lot of outtakes that probably should have been cut out, but we just got laughing and we just included them, and I think it made for one of the best videos of the year. Well, welcome back everyone. I'm with 2 very special guests today. My only sister, Mary Elizabeth, and my only mother, Mom Arndt, Kathy Arndt.
Kathy.
Yeah, we're in the hallowed area of the kitchen. There's been so many meals made here. Just think of how many over the years. Today we're going to be talking specifically about cooking, as you probably saw in the title there in the thumbnail. Later we're going to talk about Thanksgiving specifically, which is only a few days from now. And this is like ground zero for the pies. And in fact, we're going to be saying how many pies total were made, I guess it was last year. And we'll tell you that later. But in the meantime, put your comments, take your best guess. We'll see who's closest to being right. Anyway, I wanted to first just talk to Mom a little bit about the early days of cooking in such a huge family. Could you kind of walk us back a little bit how it was from the beginning, just cooking in a big growing family?
Well, actually, in the beginning, it was kind of hard on me because I came from a family of 10 kids, and it was hard to make such small meals, just for Paul, and then Paul and John, and Paul, John, and Mark. And so I actually kind of liked it. By the time we got to 5, it kind of felt like, okay, I had adjusted to lower meals, and then, it's been growing some. So that was good. And they were little, they weren't eating that much. Now, back then, all they wanted to have was whatever food with ketchup. And they'd have their green beans with ketchup. It was awful. And, hot dogs, you had to slice them just right. And it was a trick, if you accidentally slice them and cut them up too far, and they're no longer Pac-Mans, but then they turned to watermelons, but they didn't like watermelon hot dogs. So it was a trick, but it was fun.
Do you remember when John, well, I won't go down the whole rabbit hole, never mind, but I was going to talk about the ketchup story, but I don't want to get too far off.
I'm not sure about the ketchup story with John, except that he doesn't like it.
I guess we could tell. People are going to wonder now.
Which story?
What? Oh, it's just remember when you told John ketchup was the most healthy for him, and he just immediately stopped having it right there, and then claimed he never liked it.
Right, and that up until then he was having ketchup on everything, and overdoing it. It's like, honey, ketchup's good, but you can overdo it. You don't have to have quite so much. And he has cold turkey stopped. That was it. No more ketchup. Yeah, I don't think he's had a drop since. Now on a whole bunch of other very unnutritious things, that doesn't seem to work.
Yeah. Well, it goes without saying the money was very tight when we were growing up, and one thing I was going to ask too is something funny.
You invited her. Can you behave?
But anyway, one thing I was going to ask that people ask a lot is how do you afford it growing up for cooking for so many?
Yeah, well, we did a lot of shopping at Sam's. In fact, back then they used to deliver to the house, which was wonderful, and you just had to watch. We've always had mostly chicken or ground beef and a lot of noodles and things that little kids like, but would you behave? I try not to laugh.
Makes a noise and you melt down. You should be used to noises in this house by now.
Yeah, I know. I think that's what's wrong. It's actually kind of quiet.
I think it's because I have nothing to do. I'm just saying you guys are talking.
Hey, you'll get to talk soon. You'll get to talk soon. But
I think I have nothing to distract me because I keep thinking of the funny thing with the ketchup story. And then there's no other thoughts.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's funny, you weren't even there.
I know. I hadn't heard the story.
That's right. I remember where we were. It was in the kitchen on that glass table. It was actually an exterior table.
It was.
That money was so tight that was our kitchen table.
Yeah, someone gave us a a metal wrought iron painted white table with glass on it, which actually I felt was kind of dangerous, though it probably was tempered glass.
Yeah.
But that was all we had for our table.
I was going to ask, I know we mostly had a lot of like Sam's Club, like big value meals and everything. Sometimes we would eat out though. What were some of the exceptions, the times we'd eat out? How did that work? Did we watch for $1 sandwiches? And that's what I remember.
Yeah, well, on Sundays, Long John Silver's had a deal
Long
where, oh man, and for 99 cents, a child would get 2 chicken planks, French fries, and some kind of little snack, and maybe a little drink. And for 99 cents, that was wonderful, but they had to be all in the same family, and you had to have the parents there. Well, Rick and I really honestly didn't need to get any meal for us because you guys couldn't eat quite that much food. But we still would, of course, because we felt kind of bad about that. We didn't want to put them out of business. But we would just, every Sunday, that was our big treat. We'd do that, and we'd drive around dreaming of someday buying a lot in the country. And so, but that, some real special memories of that. And we went to Bonanza. They had a penny a pound, and you guys were quite a bit smaller then.
Until we went there.
Yeah, something changed. I'm not quite sure why, but now I don't think we'd want to do penny a pound. But it was a good deal for our son.
Do you remember the Long John Silver's at all, Mary Elizabeth? I guess that was a little bit before your time.
No, I mean, obviously I remember going to Long John Silver's, but no, not those days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was in the west, in the west end of Belleville.
right. And other than on Sundays when they had that deal, we couldn't go there. It's just too pricey. But then if I was having a baby, my sisters would bring over Long Johns for you guys. And so while I was in the hospital,
And sometimes after church, when we went to the church and about 20 minutes from here, we'd go to McDonald's there, and we'd get $1 sandwiches. I remember John would get like a 44-ounce milkshake for like $2 even. You get like a 44-ounce milkshake, and that was like his meal. So
Well, he got that instead of the drink. He said
instead
he
of
would
the
get
soda,
the meal.
he'd upgrade that.
Yeah, instead of like the unhealthy Dr. Pepper, he'd get a 44-ounce milkshake.
At some point, things started moving along to where we were old enough and we could start helping with the cooking. And Mary Elizabeth, I know, has been very involved, all the more these last so many years. And when did that start? Or I guess I'll ask Mary Elizabeth first. When did you first start doing any kind of cooking, or was it something you? Do you remember how it started?
I mean, I just know. I always talk about the story. I remember in Williamsburg when we were at a vacation house, I think I was allowed to make scrambled eggs for the first time, and I thought well, it's the first time I've actually cooked something. And from there, I think it just was something I always liked doing. And then I think I got opportunities too, because it was always, it would kind of be a hierarchy. Okay, the next person, when you got old enough, you'd start helping with meals. And so I think I just kind of fell next in line, because a lot of the guys, almost everybody above me has cooked meals.
They all wanted to make chocolate cookies. They'd all make the dough, and they get sick eating it and not clean up the mess. And it was really striking to me when it came to her. She made cookies and she cleaned up the mess. It's like, okay.
She's a girl.
She and I understand each other.
I assume all of us at one point or another, some more than others, did some cooking.
Yeah.
But some majored in it more, where there was, in a way, it was maybe one of us be mowing the lawn and somebody else would be more like making chicken planks or making whatever meals for the kids. So who was the first one to do that? Do you think Philip maybe?
No, actually, Luke was one of the first ones to do any cooking outside of me.
Okay.
And then Philip. And Jude had 2 different times. Like we were
I
building.
Jude
Jude
too.
did a lot.
He did a lot. And then Philip got real interested in it.
James did a lot of grilling and stuff.
James
A lot of-
always liked grilling.
And just cooking in general.
And then Nathan's gotten into grilling, and he's and smoking things. And of course, he makes really good chicken and dumplings. That's still better than I think I can make.
Definitely.
And definitely, well, thanks a lot.
Well, you always say better than me.
Yeah.
So I thought you were about to say that.
Well, definitely better than her. More than likely better than me too. But and then now here you're doing so well, and Mary Elizabeth had a chance to, because she stayed with the job. One thing that I think really stood out about you is that you would take our leftovers and turn them into something good. And a lot of the guys are all leftovers, you don't want.
That came from necessity.
Yeah,
Just
I know.
Because people would be coming, I'd hear, especially when we were cooking for the men nights up in New York, I'd suddenly hear, okay, in 10 minutes they're coming up and they're hungry. These big Amish Mennonites, and
I've been working hard.
I thought, okay, like I don't know what I'm supposed to make. It's always like just find what's in the fridge. Okay, I'm making the chili rice casserole with biscuit topping on top.
And they loved it.
And they loved it. So
Yeah.
it became
Well,
a new
and it
recipe.
helps. And that is one advantage with having a bunch of boys who are just glad they don't have to cook
Right.
any food that's ready, and a bunch of hungry Amish men. It's kind of like, hey, they're not that picky. You know,
No.
they're not
Sure.
gourmets.
Good memories,
Yeah. And then you kind of find out what, then you get a chance to taste it. It's kind of like, oh, I could have done a little oregano in here, or I could have
You
added this.
adjusted.
Right. But you've got victims
Yeah.
to do it with who
Definitely.
are very appreciative.
We can't say exactly what the future holds, of course, when like Mary Elizabeth has a family of her own and everything else. But as of right now, of course, you, Mom, are just in the next room doing some of the bookkeeping and various things that you're connected for the business.
Like everything, all the like sister-in-law activities or
Yeah, there's so
mother-in-law
many,
things.
like-
So many.
Yeah, the
Kind of being the
constant
ambassador.
baby showers,
Yeah.
constant weddings and engagement showers.
Yes.
And then Mary Elizabeth, of course, is nearby. And one of her big roles for the business now also is helping cook. Does it feel to you a little more like it's becoming like a bed and breakfast, almost like a private bed and breakfast? Is that?
It
or maybe
does.
Mary Elizabeth, both of you probably have thoughts on that.
It does sometimes. It's kind of like we always had to have something ready, and, it's just a good idea. You think ahead and you think, well, if I make a whole lot of cookies, I'll have those ready. But the thing is, if you make a lot of cookies, they'll get gobbled down.
Right.
That's all. It's really hard to, you just have to
Yeah.
be ready. You have to have plenty of food.
I've used strategy sometimes, like blackmailing. Like our strategy, like I'll say, if someone happens to see the cookie dough I'm cooking, I'll say, okay, don't tell anybody, but you can have some. But like,
Yeah.
I know, okay, if I let one person have it, it's okay. But then if everybody comes and takes it, there won't be any cookie dough
Nothing to
left.
cook.
So I try to I bribe them, okay, like just don't tell anybody else, but you can take what you want.
Well, when
So
you
it
guys
helps.
were little, you'd be around the island or wherever I was cooking, and you'd all have your own spoon and you each got a taste,
Yeah.
before I put the eggs in.
Yeah.
So, and that was kind of like, okay, now you have to help roll too. And then you
Sure.
also have to help taste the cookie when it's done. As long as they know they're going to get to taste one, they're rolling and doing
Right.
their part.
Yeah.
And the very best part was at the end when the lucky guy would get to
Lick the
have
bowl.
like lick the bowl,
Yeah.
or have like even the beaters for the
The mixer.
mixer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we were really blessed that day, then it'd be like loaded with all sorts of like you'd be kind of, you wouldn't do a real good job of cleaning.
On
It'd be
purpose, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on purpose.
Right. They
And leave us a lot.
It's
yeah.
a lot easier. You can scrape the bowl real good, but that's not as
It's
much
more
fun.
fun, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I usually scrape it after the kid thinks he's done, and there's still a lot there.
Sure.
And then you show them how much more there is.
Yeah.
It's easier on dishes too.
Since I have you two here, and of course you've been so involved, especially Mom, over the years, just so many meals and just leading the whole thing.
Yeah.
What did you always enjoy cooking, like going back, or was it just out of necessity that, of course, when you love your family or love the kids, you do anything for them? But was it something you kind of enjoyed?
Well,
before
I
that?
loved baking. When I was
Yeah.
growing up, I took a cake decorating class. And so Mom just put me in charge of all the baking for the family, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I got to really fuss over the cakes and make them look like wedding cakes. And it was kind
Yeah.
of fun.
And you came from a family of 10, of course.
Yeah, there were 10 kids in our
Yeah.
family, and Mom was glad to have that offer. But she really didn't let us cook. She always did the meal, which was nothing wrong with that. But I, had to kind of start from scratch learning cooking. But there are a lot of easy things you can make. You can roast a turkey. You can open up a can of green beans and
Dad
corn.
was easy to please.
Oh.
You just like do meat to that quick
Yeah,
pizza.
I know. When we first got married, he was on that no carb or low carb diet.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And he wanted, let's see, what was it?
Was it like beef steaks?
Breadless pizza.
Okay, yeah.
And so it would be ground up beef, a lot of cheese and sauce, but no pizza dough. And he just gobbled that down like crazy. He had quite an appetite.
Mary Elizabeth, for this era, how is it, since you've been doing a lot of cooking just recently, and kind of for the business too, or for the extended family and everything, what is that strategy like for you? Because it's got to be kind of tricky, because some days you might have 3 people here, and other days you might have 40 people here.
It's been an adjustment definitely for me with not having everybody living at home, because I used to count on, okay, I knew exactly how much to cook for, or generally could make extra, and but now it's like that, where anytime some in-laws could come in or so I kind of try to, one thing I do is I post in our family group chat every time, okay, we're having this for supper, and sometimes I can kind of tell, or I know, okay, this is a popular meal, or like this, they might tell us, oh, they're coming over.
Sure.
So, and I've gone to know, okay, well, this meal's generally popular. It gets eaten leftovers, so I can make a little extra.
Right.
But then other ones don't reheat well, so I'll, if anything, make less and just, okay, they'll eat something else if more people come.
Yeah.
And I have some backup meals that I can quickly throw together.
Yes, that's a trick.
Because I have like
Yeah.
frozen shredded chicken that I can quickly make a meal with if I need to, or
Yeah, if you get
sliders.
a bunch of chicken ready,
Yeah.
then you can make a meal real quickly.
And you and Mom are so much like the heart of the home and the business. And so you have, of all people, have a sense of like where everybody is. So like
Sure.
roughly you might know,
A lot
like,
of
oh,
people
these
are
3 are in
town.
Kansas City. These people are on their honeymoon. These are
Yeah.
whatever. That's what it's been a lot of lately.
I know.
And so that you probably get a general sense of when there's,
Yeah.
it's going to be one extreme or another.
But it is interesting that a lot of our single sons happen by right about supper time.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I've
isn't
seen
it?
that happen.
I
some-
know, isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I've seen that,
Where
yeah.
they have a brand new kitchen,
disgraceful, really.
an
Yeah.
oven. I know, and
Yeah.
I don't know if they've ever turned
No.
it on.
Yeah.
Well, come to think of it, maybe we should
disgraceful.
change this interview to asking you.
Yeah.
How many meals have you
Hey,
cooked
that's not how
at
it
your
works
place?
with the corrupt media.
So
I'm
we're
so
not going
sorry.
to
Yeah.
mention any names. Do
No.
not mention Paul's
And they have the
name.
most
We don't
beautiful
want to-
kitchen too.
I
I
know,
think like
it's
it's always
gorgeous.
so clean. It's because they never
It was
use
nice.
it.
Yeah, I made some egg beaters the other day. It
On a
was
griddle?
really good. This griddle,
That
that's
flat
like
thing
the
that you plug in.
frying pan.
Well, there's our frying pans, but there's griddles, that flat thing that you put a plug in.
Oh no, this is I guess
You
you
can't
call it a
handle
frying
that,
pan.
yeah.
You actually use a frying pan wall.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I greased it up and then put some egg beaters
Yeah.
and
What you grease
put
it
some
up
turkey
with?
on top.
Auto grease or?
Some avocado oil, I think it's
Okay.
called.
Oh,
That's okay.
avocado
Pretty
oil.
fancy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gonna be
Yeah,
organic,
it's-
you know.
Yeah, Mark got it actually. But
Sure.
yeah, so I put some of that in, and so I've done a little bit of
Yeah.
stovetop cooking.
Yeah. And I bet you've done some microwaving, some serious microwaving.
Yeah, I've done some
Popcorn,
occasionally.
hot dog.
When I'm out of protein bars.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was
I'm
going
glad
to
you come over at supper time. You get
Yeah.
a decent meal.
and you led into my next question. I was going to ask, what are some favorite things that I asked Mom to take turns. What are some favorite things you like to cook, or you like cooking over the years? Would you say like desserts or
Yeah,
any particular
desserts.
meals?
I like making desserts. It's
Like
fun. It's
lasagnas.
always popular. Lasagnas, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've liked about all of them. I like making a lot of things with baked chicken.
When we were really small, you would have more like maybe a bunch of chicken planks or things
Right.
that little kids would.
As I was
Yeah.
learning how to cook too.
Yeah.
We could get chicken patties or chicken planks from Sam's, and it'd be a much easier meal. You could just put that in the oven along with some French fries, and
Oh yeah, we loved that.
and
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, you guys had that, and then you had to have some green beans.
Yeah.
But you know, it's really hard to get kids to care so much about their figures or their
Sure.
or
Yeah.
their nutrition. You know,
Her French toast is always the
Oh,
favorite,
yeah,
of course.
yeah.
that was
Yeah, can you-
yeah, especially you and
Mark.
Mark especially liked them nice and gooey, lots
Yeah.
of egg. And I just would soak it longer.
That's
and then
definitely
John
my-
had to be
yeah.
dry. I barely let anything touch it. And then it's mostly like toast for him.
Yeah, those are definitely my
Yeah.
favorite meals. Other than your desserts, which I kind of associate you with like just epic desserts, just like
Yeah.
just
I don't know why
counters
you
and
guys got
counters of
chubby.
piles.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's at the holidays. But yeah, Mark,
Yeah.
he told me that the reason he gained weight because he said, "Oh, Mom hardly ever makes this meal, so I better eat a lot of it." And then the next day, "Oh, Mom hardly makes this meal,
Yeah.
and so I better eat a lot of it."
Try a variety.
And, yeah, and I did a whole variety, but he always, just ate a lot of each one. He
Yeah.
didn't really
definitely.
have to do that.
One of the things you do for the family business, among many other things, is helping with a lot of the meals. With everybody getting married now and grandkids and everything, how has that changed with the strategy? I know it's always
Yeah.
kind of evolving.
Well, since we run our businesses in the home, it's just natural that, just like a secretary, they might be bringing in bread sandwiches, like you need somebody to supply the food,
Right.
and also because it's kind of a good strategy to keep people over here, keep like bringing like grandbabies over here too, and like make a welcoming place. And I actually was just talking to a couple of my sister-in-laws recently, saying how it's like I want it to be a place where if they're busy, if they had to stay up all night with the baby and didn't have time to make supper, that they have a warm meal over here and they can spend time with their family. They don't have to just go eat out, and
Yeah.
because they live just 7 minutes away. Like, why don't you just come here and hang out? And I kind of think, okay, well, especially now, like I'm in the season where I could focus. I can give. That's something I can give to help. Like they can, and I love doing it. So, and we want to make this a welcoming place, or that's always been on our heart to make it kind of almost like a bed and breakfast,
Like a
or like
family
a
center.
family center, and
Yeah.
to make it always welcoming because otherwise people, I don't know, my worst fear is that people are gonna come and then there's like nothing to eat, or they're gonna
Right.
have to fend for themselves, and especially like I don't really trust them to fend for themselves, like what they're gonna make. But
Well, and
But it's just so
never
sad.
going to be fruits and veggies.
Yeah.
It's never going to be the nutritious stuff along with.
Right.
And,
And it's not
if
just like
if it's already hot, people want it.
Well,
it's
this-
not very efficient either if everybody's like
Yeah.
getting out a pan and making their own, just
Right.
one order of eggs.
And
stuff.
honestly, it's a lot more stressful that way. People would think it'd be more helpful, but it's like it's a lot more dishes being made, or it's a lot more like chaos. It's like at least I know what mess I'm making. I know, and I can
Right.
clean it while I'm cooking something else. And
Right, it's so much easier.
and it's neat. I want to like
It
bring that
also keeps
comfortably.
you guys working. It
Yeah,
keeps you
exactly.
faster in the business, which earns more money for the business, which helps all of us.
Yeah.
So who are some of the guys who help with cooking? I know for different eras it was different people.
Luke started. He's the first one I trained to make very simple meals, just something you had to bake that was pretty much pre-made, because I had to be over. Our office was at another location at supper time. I was still there, and other days I couldn't get back in time. He would make a meal, and I was impressed. He actually set the table. He did a wonderful job. I think he's kind of proud that he's doing such a grown-up thing. And then Jude, when we were building this house, he shocked me, totally shocked me, because Rick got so busy with work. He was going to be the general contractor, but he wasn't able to. He was so busy. I pretty much had to take over with a bunch of details, secretarial kind of stuff, not muscle. But I was pregnant with David, and Jude, he'd be back home, and from 6 o'clock in the morning till like 8:30 at night, I'd be gone. Of course, I had the baby in me, but he took care of the rest of the kids. Did
homeschooling.
the schooling. He kept them up with the school and did a good job with it. And then the cooking, and kept up with laundry. He made me look bad. He was tired. I mean, he was worn out, but he did what I do, other than the business part of it, really well. He did a real good job with. He didn't do fancy meals, but I mean, everybody was happy and content, and he was amazing. So hats off to Jude. He did a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really kind
That's a lot.
plugged the gap there for those
Oh.
months. Just while
Yeah.
it was kind of a key part during the building project where
Yeah.
you need to be here more than normal.
I couldn't believe that he knew enough and was able to do that
Yeah.
and handled. He's always been good with kids and discipline as much as needed, but not overdoing it.
He was
I'd
really
say
good.
out of anyone in the family,
He was really good.
Caught on to
Yeah.
that really well. Some would be too rough, some would be too lenient, other ones just plain wouldn't notice, you know.
Sure.
And whenever I had to be away, it was very key to have someone who
Yeah.
handle that position. He did such a
I
good
always
job.
thought he was.
Yeah, he really
he
did.
felt like a kind of a second dad or mom, like because it was really because he would help us with schooling, and I always felt. I mean, it helped so much.
I know.
Yeah, very secure. We felt very. We didn't all feel like, oh, okay, because I knew you guys are busy building. But I never
Right.
felt like. I felt like, oh, we have another helper, another
Yeah.
person to help us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had promised earlier we would tell you the answer to the Thanksgiving question, the number of pies. And probably by the time you see this, it'll be just about when the actual pies for this year are getting made. I'd ask you off camera how many pies there were from last year. And do you want to give a drum roll in that number?
Drum roll. Last year we made 42. And we actually made 10 more than that, but we kind of messed them up. The coconut cream, I think one time somehow it was too much, I think it was too much the milk, and another time maybe too little, maybe the two batches got kind of mixed up. But the funny thing is you guys ate them all and nobody complained. But it's like, it wasn't right. It really bugged me. So I guess it's 52, but it would have been 42, except for the ones I would have discarded that still got eaten.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the only times I do
Oh yeah,
some cooking.
that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Not
the
cooking.
The night before Thanksgiving.
It's
Yeah.
not cooking. It's no
Raising
baked
pies.
pie.
Yeah, these guys
Well,
make it
technically,
awesome. One of the
it's-
favorite pies, actually, outside
Yeah.
maybe the coconut cream, and I would say the mud pies are the most
Yeah.
special ones.
Yeah.
We never have too many of those.
Yeah,
everybody
I actually
loves
feel
those.
really honored because people have told me that mud pie is one of their favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got the term wrong. I said cooking, but I guess
It's not.
baking.
No, it's not
Yeah.
baking.
Right.
It doesn't go in the oven.
Well,
It just,
what do you call
You
that?
just mixing pudding.
Baking.
You're
Yeah.
making
So, okay,
pie.
so we're-
No bake.
So we make
Mud cake pie.
Yeah, so I'm pretty good at making pies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, I
making
made
mud
lots of
pies.
them.
Yeah, lots. All
Yeah.
those.
Dozens, I guess, because we make a lot of the.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
we've
one
been
of the
doing
most
that
popular.
for what, how many years
15
now?
years or something like that.
Has it been
Something
that
like
long?
that,
You
I
guys
think.
have, wow. And they usually
Kitchen
do
is-
it after I've done whatever I'm doing. Then they take over the kitchen to make their special
It's
ones.
usually, we always like do it at midnight or something.
I
For some
know,
reason, we're
and-
already so tired from the pie day.
I know, and
I'm
then you're
just like out of it, trying to like see what coating mix is that.
No, I'm not much help either because I don't know where anything
No.
is here.
right, yeah.
And I have to remember each year. Okay, wait, what does condensed smell?
It's the only time he ever cooks. Well, makes
Or doesn't
makes food. Makes
Also,
food.
it kind of hurts your brain because you have to do a lot of math to figure out the multiplication. Because it'd be like, okay, we have to do 8 times 1 1/3 cups, and then we have to do such and such. And
Yeah, suddenly math becomes important.
Yeah.
I think that at least I can help there because usually Mary Elizabeth is extremely tired by that time. If you look at some of our photos from over the years, she just kind of like, we always stand there triumphantly, and I'm usually pretty sharp.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of fresh
like
from
this.
First time he's made any food in a year.
Like, oh, this is pretty fun.
Yeah, this is fun. Why do you complain about
Maybe
it?
twice a year even. Yeah.
So I think that's a great memory, and by the time you watch this, we'll probably be actively making it. So hopefully some of you got that right. Well, we better get to work. We have to kind of transform this kitchen here. We'll see you guys next time. Leave a comment or like and subscribe. I just laugh every time I watch that video, and whenever you put Mary Elizabeth and me on camera at the same time, I don't know what it is, but we've always been so close, and we get each other laughing, and I don't know, it just must be the right formula, but different members of the family are like that with each other. So we had a lot of fun filming that. Next up, this is number 4 on the list, and this is pretty much all Dad. In fact, I think it's completely Dad on this episode. This has a lot to do with our family team, which is our whole family, Dad and all the guys, and sometimes Mary Elizabeth and Mom will pick up a bat, or the sisters-in-law. And we also talk about teamwork as it relates to the home building project. So it's a really special episode. It's been very popular, and it's one that I would call kind of a foundational episode because it talks about how our family has worked together over the years.
I've been thinking about teamwork a lot lately. Of course, it helps to have a family of 16, 13 sons. They're all adults and 1 adult daughter. People ask, well, what steps do you take to build teamwork? Or how do you do it? We know it's more healthy for people to be outside of themselves. This land that you see behind me, we came across it in about 34 years ago when we already had 7 sons.
This is the land.
This is a ham.
Peaceful out here.
We got out of the van, and each of us looked up at the bluff, and there was kind of just a feeling of silence and stillness. And I almost had the sense of reverence or like happy joy, of almost like angels high-fiving over the bluff. And Kathy, a bit later, said, I had this, and then she went on to describe the same thing.
Sounds so crazy because I didn't want us to buy anything. I didn't like us looking because it's like we're just tempting ourselves. If you can't afford it, why be looking?
But it would take 10 more years before we could break ground. Even then, the only way we were able to build, we just had to do basically anything we could do on the house, we had to do. Should I start with the softball or the house building? Well, I think I'll start with the softball because people always talk about the family team.
It seems so crazy and far out to think we could all play in the same team because when we first started, I was only 15 or 16. So that was looking, 20 years in the future.
Where's the ball?
During my 20s, I wasn't able to play on a team myself. Well, I could have, but I wanted to be with the family. I mean, you only have 24 hours in a day, so I didn't get to play softball in my prime, well, basically until I was 43. And by the time I was 43, we joined a men's league with whoever was old enough to play on that team at that time.
You have to be 14 to play in the league. So every time one of the guys would turn 14, it would be a big moment. And we've had rookie after rookie after rookie. And there's been a streak in the family that each new rookie would reach base on his first at-bat. It's really a remarkable streak when you consider that even a really good player will reach base about half the time.
Peter, ready? Just think he might be getting one of these. He's just turning 14 and we don't want to put pressure on him.
It eventually worked its way up to David, the youngest. I was 61 at that time, I believe. And we were able to play, I was able to play on that men's team from the time I was 43 until beyond when I was 61, 20 plus years.
Nikhil has been the rookie of our team for the last little while, but that'll change in a week because Peter's going to be joining the team.
Peter. Okay, camp under it. Just call for it.
Call for it. We used to do this drill with the older guys when you were little.
I'm excited. It's nice to finally have another lefty on the team. And there might be a slight size difference between both of us.
Only about a foot.
If he hits it to me and right, I will let it drop.
Well, nothing too crazy. He doesn't want any charity, but just no walks. As long as they're not all intentional walks.
He's looking good. He's hitting good liners.
I would think he'd be feeling the pressure, but just looking at him right now, he looks very chilled. He just took a healthy cut right there. I'm keeping my glove handy because he can hit line drives.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'll just pitch. You don't have to call any pitches. No curveball, fastball, anything like that.
I think he's nervous, but he's handling it well. He just looks a little right there. Well, I didn't have much action in the first inning, but I got one ball flooding, and I had to stop the rolling ball.
Play, Peter.
So at least I haven't been near yet.
Okay, guys, we got Nathan, Caleb, Peter, then top. Let's go, guys. Nathan, Caleb, Peter.
This is Caleb's last at-bat as a rookie. After this, Peter will be the new youngest member of the team.
All right, Peter.
Hey, Peter. Have some fun, buddy.
Go, Peter.
I'm guessing Peter was thinking, just get a hit, like don't mess up, just get a hit, like so it's a lot of pressures to be thinking about it, and everybody's cheering you on.
All right, Turkey. Hey, what do you get on Dave? In some ways, I sense that he was a little bit relieved too, that he could just get into the game now and not worry about that first at bat.
There you go, Peter. Peter, you kept the on-base streak alive. Yeah.
He got his first run anyway.
I know, hey.
Got on base the very first at bat. You hit it harder than some of the older guys. Peter was just very steady and seasoned. It really surprised me. He was so calm, and I don't know. It just felt natural. Now it feels as if he's always been playing. But in a sense, he's always been playing with us, except for these games. So now this is just a little step up. I mean, a year from now, he might be 6'4" and pounding them over the scoreboard.
Well, now David is coming. He's the final rookie in the family. We don't know yet whether he will continue the streak or not continue the streak. Honestly, I think that's a lot of pressure for a guy. You're nervous enough as a rookie, and then all the more if you have all of your big brothers who have gone before you, who have managed, maybe even just kind of out of sheer luck, to reach base.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get a hit on my first at-bat because we need to have a good way to start it off. But yeah, I'm really excited.
There, perfect.
If I had to guess, I would say the odds of anyone reaching base are about 50-50. If you're a rookie and if you're a little nervous, those odds go down.
I think it's super special that dads are able to be here on the team and have his youngest son playing, because he's of course loved baseball and softball for so long, and then to be here with all 13 of his sons is pretty amazing. And he's holding his own. He's the shortstop, the manager, coach, and just getting better, and it's really amazing to see. It's really neat.
David's excited. He's real happy about it. He doesn't seem too nervous. He's a good hitter. He's kind of a natural hitter. I'd be surprised if he didn't get a hit. But we're playing against tough teams.
I would think, honestly, if I had to bet the house, I would say maybe only 1 in 3, 1 in 4 chance that he reaches base the first time. I'm really hoping he does, because I know it might be a bigger deal for him than it is for anyone else.
It's a big moment for me personally. I've been looking forward to this for years. I think it became real last year when everybody began to say, wow, next year David's going to be a member of the team. And sure enough, he's a member of the team. It seems so natural.
I'm feeling pretty good about this game. This is my first at-bat. I'm on deck now. So I better do some warm-ups.
Okay. All right. I have bases loaded for David.
It was just surreal for me to watch David walk up to the plate for the first time.
Go, David!
All right, Dave.
Woo!
It still hasn't quite sunk in that he's actually old enough to be in the men's league now.
Come on, David.
David took an aggressive swing, hustled down the line. Base hit.
Good job, David!
Well, what I saw is he didn't look nervous. I expected Peter and Caleb looked nervous, but he looked real calm and collected, and he just up and got a hit. I thought it was a really good hit, too.
I wasn't really thinking about it. I just decided to swing as best as I could, and I got a hit.
How do you feel now that it's over?
I feel pretty excited. As the last one in the lineup, so I feel pretty excited.
I'm just happy to be on the same team with him. I always thought of David as like a miniature version of me, and he looks so much like me, especially when he was a baby, when I was a baby. You compare our baby pictures, we look about the same. So our personalities are very similar, so I'm just really happy to be playing with him, and then also to have Dad on the team.
The family team beat a lot of other teams that on paper we shouldn't have beaten. I mean, some tough teams, tournament teams. Some guys that played in one or two were former major leaguers. Some played in the minor leagues. Many of them excelled at other levels, college. We won not because of individual stardom, but as we did play as a unit. It reminds me of what Paul writes to the Corinthians about being the body of Christ. Each part is plays a completely unique role as opposed to the others, but it's all very synchronized. And I just remember being thrilled when we were raising the kids, when I would hear them, even when they were very young, say the we word instead of the I word. And it was just something that they inhaled, and it was contagious. And I see that to this day. And it carried over into the softball world. The softball experience, we were, for a while, we played 2, 3, even 4 nights a week. And it really gelled us together as a team because we knew that it had to be a we and not an I. And I know that's a stereotype. There is no I in team and all of that. It's beyond just the sports field. It is a way to live. And you actually get more if you do it God's way. And he's the one who set it up to be a we instead of an I, to be a community, to be a family community, but also the larger community. And you hear that now, truly successful teams talking about the we rather than the I, truly playing for each other, truly being, literally it would be an embarrassment to be thought of as someone who is playing for yourself. Even if you were secretly to be thinking of your own statistics, it would be considered just the wrong tone in a team to ever let it be known that you were thinking I, and that's sort of like we see in the military, or we see in the movie The Red Badge of Courage. The idea of being wounded or being there for your team is put forward as more meaningful and more fulfilling than the idea of preserving yourself. And that's how it is in the major leagues, even just in general, in companies and churches and corporations, schools. The idea of team, there's an embarrassment to be considered selfish or bloated with your own self-interest. And I think teamwork is so good for mental health, because you literally, and I was just telling somebody about this recently, you have to go way beyond. If you want to escape the thing that's plaguing your mind or causing torment or fear or anxiety, one way to kind of deaden it, or in a good way, or put yourself out of the misery, is to literally kind of leave that area of the brain behind, put it in God's hands, and get out and do the other 99 areas and get involved in other people. And teamwork I should say, it didn't really spill over out of softball into other areas of life. It actually spilled into softball from the way God taught us to be from the very beginning. We couldn't have done it without the team effort. Some of the vacations we took, the trips, we had to come together on a tight budget and drive in a caravan and go places like state parks or just see beautiful things that were free to see. But one thing that I wanted to say is, when we finally, after this land that you see behind me, we came across it in about 34 years ago when we already had 7 sons, and number 8 was in the womb. We were able to scrape by and make the payment, and the bank said, you can start paying on this land. We'll accept it. We'll give you a loan for it. But it would take 10 more years before we could break ground.
Well, we're out here on June 26th. The heat has gotten to me. I accidentally said January. But right now, we're just digging the footings for the first time.
I didn't even know what footings were. Apparently they are foundations for foundations, basically, something you never see. And they just said, hey guys, if you dig this out, we're gonna start building a house. So I just did it. I thought, is it actually happening?
Future front yard.
hopefully future backyard. I do remember one day when we were putting up the flags, standing with Mom and looking out to the south at the bluffs and saying, this is where your kitchen's going to be. So it's really overwhelming because she had never had a good kitchen. New baby due in January. We're trusting that everything goes fine. God bless that baby.
We hired two brothers that were contractors that were friends of ours from church, and they agreed to take on the job and to use us guys as much labor as possible.
It turned out that the only way we could qualify would be if we did the work. So we were able to spend the one thing we had, which was unity, in order to build a house.
I was completely new to any sort of building. I knew how to carry stuff so I could follow directions.
We were green, but we had strong backs and willingness. That was the hottest summer I remember. Some of my favorite memories are in the heat. Maybe I carried a pile of lumber and I finally saw the thing taking some shape.
Here's Fowo. Seth and Jacob are over there.
Say hi, Paul.
Everyone pulled in together. Dad, who was working full time, would often come out still in his dress clothes. And then Mom, who was pregnant with her last child, was out there all the time helping direct things. And she grew with the house.
How do you scooch back on this?
How do you zoom out?
Yeah. Oh, there.
I was so happy to see her out here. She waited all those decades to get this kind of house, this kind of space, this kind of kitchen.
There's John, he's been in the office all day. And there's Luke, just snuck away. And Rick's on his way to deposition right after, so he's got his dress pants on. When we were first pushing the walls up, just to watch, it's like, boy, that's looking like a house. Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you, Jesus. There's that front door. Yay. This is such a miracle. Thank you, Jesus.
I've never met anyone who is so able to drink in and appreciate things.
Hi, honey.
See you later. I'm going to go to a deposition. That was pretty good, wasn't it?
That was great. I'm so proud of
See
you.
your walkout door there?
I know. I love you, sweet.
I love you.
Bye.
See you later.
Isn't this wonderful? Yeah. What a great day.
It was a really funny image to see Mom, who was expecting, dealing with all these kind of gruff blue-collar guys. You know, Mom right up there with all the construction guys, talking shop, helping direct things, being in some ways a general contractor.
We're trying to get Philip at a safe spot. It's a very, very hot day. Oh my goodness, look at that.
I think the people she dealt with had a certain respect for her, a certain affection to see someone scrappy like that, a pregnant woman with 13 kids already.
My job here was to keep it clean so our people working, all the men working, wouldn't stop and clean and waste an hour of time when they could put up another wall. And so I brought Seth, Jake, and Nathan, who we called Huey, Dewey, and Louie, out here, and they were just, you know, little guys that must have been around 9, 7, and 5, or maybe a little older. But out here, and if they could, I bought them each their own shovel, dust shovel, and I would sweep an area and fill up one dust shovel and they'd go throw it away. Another, because I wasn't really good at bending at that point. You know, I tell them, you know, they had short arms. If a piece of wood was longer than your arm, we save it. If it's shorter, we put in the burn pile bucket. We're going to burn all those. And they were real efficient. And so we'd go in a room, and it would be long. We'd have that room clean. Then we'd go in another room and clean that up.
It was a really sweet memory for me because both of my grandpas came out and helped. They're both very handy. And I got closer with both of them through the project.
At some point, my mom's dad, Grandpa, came over to help us out. He had all this skill and knowledge and even the tools, but he needed kind of an assistant to actually get some stuff done. So I was assigned to help him. And man, that's one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me.
I have to say, I've never seen someone change so much in such a short time. James, I guess, was right about 13 at the time.
beginning to end with the house, I started as a grunt carrying stuff around, and by the end I could use any tool we had, and I could do just about every part of building the house.
It's so strange. Up until that point, he was very good at taking things apart and not putting them back together. You know, he'd want to see how radio worked or a speaker or this or that.
Good.
James just caught on to it so quickly, and Dad could see, like, wow, this kid's got the ability to understand what I'm talking about, because my dad was a mechanical engineer.
One instance I really remember, my great uncle Dick, who just recently passed away at 98, he was probably 79 or 80 at the time. Grandpa was basically building the front porch, and I was helping him out. And there was the task left to build the stoops, the little steps that go up to the front door and the side door and the dining room door. And Uncle Dick said, well, why don't you have Jim do it? He would always call me Jim. He's one of the 2 or 3 people that had called me Jim. I think I might have said, I'm not sure I know how to do it. And I remember Uncle Dick saying something like, oh, I think you can do it. I believe in you. And kind of smiling at me. And it turned out I was able to do it. I did a good job on it. I did it the correct way. That was just such a great feeling, because Uncle Dick gave me the confidence to believe that I could learn something and that I could do something on my own. And I really credit him for teaching me how to learn, you know, because it's not that I had a whole bunch of knowledge to be able to do it, but I had the confidence that I could learn it. And to me, that's like the most valuable thing.
I wouldn't trade the way the house was built for anything. I'm glad we weren't able to just snap our fingers and withdraw the money and just have the best contractor in the world build a house. We had to literally every day stretch and be creative and talk to each other and trust God to multiply our resources. And everything about it is sweet. We even had to carry the concrete forms, just I think to save $50 from the truck to the building site from the road. And I think the concrete forms had bees in them. Guys who never had worked in construction in our family or done anything like that became good. Mark became an expert at applying the vinyl siding. And it just, it's such a heartwarming experience to do something like that as a family.
Now, of course, you know, everyone's grown. We have guys living different places, different houses.
We're here working on Luke's house.
But still, this is the hub. And even now, I still find myself calling it home, even though I don't live here. It's still, I think it's always going to be home to me in some way.
God very kindly did not let us have it easy with a lot of things. Suffering can be your friend, us being stretched, being stretched outside of yourself. I'll tell you, like anybody, I worry or get fearful or get doubtful or wonder how this is going to happen. But being with a big team, you're forced out of yourself because something is always happening. I'm sure mothers and fathers can relate to this, especially when you have a large family. Because in our case, I'd be holding one, maybe even 2, and mom would be taking care of the infant, and others would be running around. And you had to think quickly. Being in that kind of atmosphere develops your faculties and your sharpness, and it really is. It kind of it trains you to live at a fast pace, a rapid pace, but still know that for each child, each moment, it has to be precious to that child. You can't rush it. So being in a part of a team doesn't mean being lost in the team. We knew right away when we have a big team like this, a big family, we would have to make sure that each individual would feel very treasured. And that was something we knew that every moment was a chance to do that. Every moment was going to be unique. We're still underdogs in so many ways. I'm just glad nothing came that easy to us. God uses these things to develop and compress. Like coal being compressed makes diamonds. And I've learned to embrace suffering and the idea that I can't do it myself. And instead of feeling bad about the idea of not being able to do it yourself, I try to teach them to lead with your need, lead with vulnerability. I mean, Jesus said, blessed are those who know they're poor in spirit, who basically, blessed are those who come with an empty cup, who know that they have an empty cup. So teamwork starts with, it's related to vulnerability. And that's related to, in the Word of God, confessing your sins one to another, as they did in the early church. And just to have that vibrancy, you always want to be in that flow of never trying to be stoic or just being a big shot or too independent or prideful. All you have to do is live life, and I'm sure we all know you stumble quickly. Those are the times when you really feel the team around you. And that's ideally how the body of Christ should be, is that there's enough when you're truly in need. I'm not talking about just holding back, but when you're truly at the end of your tank, you've done your best, you've lined up with God, and somebody else has a whole lot and you just don't. They have a lot of that one ingredient. They can carry you. And then as Paul writes to the Corinthians, it can be reversed when they are in need. Maybe you'll be the one to provide an abundance to them. Even the word family team, it's been my privilege to have that be the theme. But just that theme gives me a warm feeling, because I know it's okay not to be able to do things completely all by myself. Even at this age, even as a dad or patriarch, I'm constantly asking questions. One key to letting yourself be part of a team is to be accountable and to be willing to have a question mark at the end of your sentences instead of a period. But I think sometimes human nature is to act like you have it all together. You know, for example, if somebody is walking down the street and falls down, and human nature is, I want to just look like, no, I hope nobody saw that, or I want to look as if it was planned. You know, it's all part of me. I'm in control. It's just basically, it's better just to give in and be. Jesus said, when you become like a little child, that's when you're entering the kingdom of heaven. I think the most vulnerable, the most childlike end up being the ones who fit best on a team. Some of the biggest stars whom we have interviewed over the years, Christian athletes, major league ball players, were the most humble and childlike and vulnerable because they knew their failures. Even the best ball player makes an out, a 300 hitter, a lifetime hitter. That means he made outs 700, 70% of the time. I was concerned it would get too dark by the time we were finished. This isn't bad.
I wanted to take a moment to introduce to you 2 new Arndt family members. We recently adopted 2 robot lawnmowers. We teamed up with the Segway company, they're our latest sponsor, and we only connect with brands that we believe in, that we actively use and trust their product. These mowers are so easy to use. They take care of yards anywhere from 1/8 of an acre up to 2.5 acres. And we have them controlling our whole ball field, the whole family property, and even some of our neighbors' property. These are going in the background like 24/7. They're so quiet, it's unbelievable. We have it running at night. You never have clippings again because it's always taking about 1/4 of an inch off, so you have a much healthier lawn, and we have just loved them. It's been a complete game changer for us. So if you want to click above with the link, or if you want to go down in the description, we put a link there for you, and you can look at their whole lineup of models and you can order your own. If you have questions about the mowers, leave a comment for us. We'll answer you right away. This is number 3 in our list of the most popular videos of the year, and it involves the subject of laundry. I'm going to toss it to myself here, and I'll introduce what this episode's about, and I'll be back on the other side to introduce number 2. What does a week of laundry look like in a family of 13 sons and 1 daughter? That's been a really common question, and lots of folks have done stories on it. We had some local and national media coverage about it. I'm the oldest son, and there's one in particular where Mom gave a tour of the laundry room. During this episode, Mom reveals how many loads of laundry she did per week during the busiest time in our family. So if you guys want to leave your comments below, I'd be curious to see if anybody can guess anywhere close to what the actual answer is. It actually surprised me. At the very end of this whole video, I wanted to share with you guys a really funny laundry story. I just thought of it this morning. It involves one of our first ever family trips to upstate New York. So that's a little clue. I'll tell you the rest later.
Caleb, you guys want to help get laundry? This morning, like every morning, is laundry day. And once I get myself put together, my next thought is get the laundry started. Okay, Davey, you grab this laundry. Okay, you get your shoes on, bub. We have 3 hampers spread across the house. Caleb and David got me the laundry today and dump it in the middle of the laundry room floor. Thank you, sweetie. You're a good helper. And I sort it, and usually I end up with a full load of whites, shirts, pants, and towels. All the stuff on the floor is laundry. All the stuff on top is clean. This is dirty, that's clean. That's stuff for Mommy to fold. Not counting bed clothing and extremely messy days, which happen pretty often around here. We have easily 6 loads a day. So I guess that's Sunday too. That would be easily 42 loads. And then you add up the, 4 nights a week of softball. Oh gosh, I guess it's 50 to 60 loads of laundry a week. Boy, that sounds like a lot. But it doesn't feel that much because it's just part of our day.
Anytime Mom is out of town or away for a while and we have to take care of the laundry, it makes me realize how big of a job it is. She keeps it running so smoothly and we don't really talk about it, it's just something she does. But when I have to do it, it's a big deal. She makes it look easy.
Hey David, Mommy needs lots and lots of hangers. Can you give me 2 armfuls? 2? Yeah, 2. This laundry room is a dream come true for me. To have one room devoted to laundry, to have 2 washers and 2 dryers, such super capacity, and a place to actually hang the clothing and bins for the socks and underwear and tables devoted for the folding. I can have laundry out here and not worry about it being our dining room table or our kitchen table or our school table. It's nice to have a room to itself.
I have to do hangers and get as many as I can.
How many can you get?
I can't get lots.
How many more do you think you need?
I don't know.
Why are you walking backwards?
Because I want to. I'm going to hit the door. Right around here, I'll hit the door.
What if the door's not closed?
Well, I'll hit the laundry basket.
Up here in this upper pipe, we use that for the 6 oldest's shirts. And then back here we've got all the boys' shirts labeled with their initials on their collar. Hopefully not showing. This one's rather faded, but you can see that's Luke's. Down in here I've got socks and underwear in these bins. They can come down and just grab a big armful of whatever kind of socks they like. Those are the short ankle socks. These are dark dress socks. And some of them are in the wrong bin. You know, we've got them all ready for them. They can just fill up their drawers upstairs.
It's so easy to underestimate Mom because she has this very sweet demeanor, and it's not a put on, she really is sweet. But she's very, very wise, very sharp. I'm convinced that she could walk into any business or any profession and within a short time be owning the place. She'd be a great boss or manager, contractor. In fact, she is all those things. So it's really touching to me to know that, wow, she could be president, and yet she thinks it's even more valuable to be our mom, to take care of us. And so I just tip my hat to her.
Right now I'm doing David a favor. He just recently graduated in doing towels and wash rags. But just to get the towels and wash rags sorted by color and then get them folded and put where they belong is a pretty time-consuming job, and so I try to get my hand with it. Depending on who it is, we've got one person devoted all the time to taking care of the dishes if I'm not around. Another one is supposed to push the laundry through if I'm not around. Nathan and Jacob are pretty much in charge of doing all vacuuming. Mary Elizabeth takes care of the kitchen. It's nice to have a girl finally come up through the ranks. She's really enjoying cooking. She likes the idea of surprising everyone with a special new meal and you know, a fancier, more challenging meal rather than just the same old, same old. And the boys, of course, are loving being the guinea pigs to try all the new stuff. So that works out real nicely. Okay, David, you know what? Mommy's accidentally doing someone's job here. Do you know whose job this is? Would you want to help just do the wash rag part? How about you do all those and I'll do this part?
I tend to take what Mom does for granted. We might have a softball game on Monday night, and then the next night for Tuesday, we'll have another softball game, and the jerseys that I tossed in Monday night are there, clean, ready to go. And I don't even think about it. They're just there. I just toss them in the magic hamper, and they're there.
Mom, tomorrow we're going to babysit for our big poodles.
That's right. We're going to have 2 little poodles in our house for almost 2 weeks. You're a good helper, sweetie. David gets the 2 hampers on the 2nd floor and brings them to me. He gets all the hangers, and then now he's got the very big boy job of doing towels and wash rags. And as you see, by the time we're done with this, that's a good piece of work. And the thing of it is, I've noticed that little kids love to be involved in something that is a little bit too hard for them, a little too big. They're so used to seeing all the big guys do it. They kind of want to be important. And if you'll take the time to train them and involve them and let them be part of the job, even though you think of it as a hard job, and it is a hard job, there are little bits and pieces that they can do that make them feel important and are helpful. You know, their little energetic legs running back and forth, grabbing something, throwing something away for you, picking up this or that. It adds up and it makes them feel important. And also it starts a training process so they eventually will understand how to do the job by themselves. And of course that works out nicely too. Okay, David, can you tell me where these all go? And then you go put them away? Okay, how about you right now just do the kitchen ones, okay? Then come back, I'll get these ready for you, okay? One of the things I love about this house, we got closets finally. At our old house, we had one closet on the first floor. And then on the second floor, I think we just had 3 closets, and that was it for the whole house. And so if anything, I put in extra closets on this house. Just lately, Kayla, Peter, and David, and Mary Elizabeth have been using these shelves in this closet as bunk beds. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. They'll use these 3 shelves, and little skinny Peter goes up on this shelf, and it's got a light in this closet so you can turn it off and on, and you can reach the doorknob from any shelf, which is good. It's kind of a cute thing to do, I think. For example, I should have mentioned around David.
Where's the doorknob?
So for whatever shelf we get out, that was my biggest concern, is that they not get locked in a closet. But as you notice, this is a bit cleaner in here.
That brings back so many memories, just seeing that. And I remember those days of just so many uniforms and Mom and the others who did the laundry. That was really, I take my hat off to them. And of course we pitched in at times too, but usually would kind of organize it where maybe 1 or 2 people would handle different jobs, and it was just a lot more efficient that way. Now it's a little different. So many marriages in the family, so many have moved out. The main house has become more like a bed and breakfast, as I think I've mentioned in other episodes. We do still have busy times though. Like we've had multiple weddings in the last year for family members. So there were times we'd have, 20 tablecloths making the rotation through the washers and dryers, obviously grandkids and people staying from out of town. So it gets a ton of use still. It's just a little different. It's not quite as centralized anymore with 1 or 2 people doing everything. Okay, I promised a story. I'm going to tell my laundry story. This took place one of our first trips up to upstate New York. We like to go to the Finger Lakes area. It's a very budget-friendly place for families, especially back then when we were such a young family. Anyway, we were on a trip. This is probably 15 or 20 years ago, and we were on the highway. We were running short on space, so we put these big tubs filled with clothing on top of, I believe it was Dad's vehicle. He had like the luggage racks on the top. These were those long, transparent tubs. They're almost like a little shaped like that, maybe that long. We had them upside down and strapped to the top of the vehicle. I noticed other drivers were suddenly treating us differently, like people were hesitant to pass us, even though we were in the right lane, just kind of chugging along. And then I realized that Dad's vehicle actually looked kind of like a cop car, because from a distance, these tubs on the top looked like the sirens. I don't know what happened, but somehow 1 or 2 of these tubs just came loose and suddenly were airborne off the top of the vehicle, and clothes were flying all over the highway. We do walkie-talkies among the vehicles on trips, so I'm sure one of us said, "Hey, Mayday, Mayday, the clothes are gone." And we pulled over to the side of the road, and there were just countless articles of clothing all over the freeway. We went out there, carefully picked them up. So if any of you happen to be on that highway and saw a big family picking up underwear and who knows what else on I-90 or whatever interstate it was, that was us. We apologize for any delay. Thankfully, it wasn't busy traffic that day. Okay, we're down to the last 2, which means we're at the number 1 and number 2 most popular videos of the year. And number 2, can you guess which one it is? It has to do with the family. And it's actually our Meet the Family episode, which just skyrocketed the second we posted it. And that makes sense because we're definitely a family that's a little different than usual as far as the size and the makeup of the family, considering there are so many boys and 1 girl, and there have been so many marriages so quickly, it's hard to keep up with. So actually, this video you're about to see is less than a year old, but it's already out of date. We're going to make a new one soon. So anyway, this will give you a preview of what it's like to be in our family of 13 sons, 1 daughter, and many sisters-in-law. I just realized recently we don't have any introduction for people to know the order and the names of everybody in the family. So if you have not been here before, this will be a little cheat sheet for you. My dad, Rick, of course, is the patriarch. He's the one who was here from the very beginning. And if you talk to Dad for more than a minute or two, you'll hear all about his faith in Jesus, his love for his family. And right after that, you'll hear about his love for baseball. Dad always wanted to make it to the major leagues, and he was quite a hitter. He'll tell you now, though, that he never would have guessed that he'd have his own full family team and that he'd take that over a major league career anytime. My mom, Kathy, she's from a family of 10. There were 8 girls and 2 boys. She always wanted a large family. She had so much fun with hers. And she's just the matriarch. I think she's like America's mom. I mean, I've never met anyone like her, and we're just so honored to have her. I'm the oldest son. My name is Paul. And I guess I'm a lot like my dad. I love baseball. I love anything to do with the media, the outdoors. And I've gotten to see all this from the beginning. John is number 2 in the family. We grew up sharing a room for many, many years in the old family houses. He always whizzed through math, whizzed through chess. He was always way ahead of everything. Our relationship is great because he was always so good there. I was more natural at sports, and we kind of evened each other out over the years. Mark adds so much to the family. He's number 3, and he's always been like the jokester. He's been the wordsmith, the creative one. He's a writer. I think he must get that from Dad. In fact, he just finished his first book. It's called Murdoch. I don't think he'd mind me sharing that. Maybe he'll film a movie about it someday. Luke is number 4 in the family, and he recently married his lovely wife, Katie. And about a year later, little Anna came along, and she is the first grandchild and the first niece. She is so popular. I mean, she was here yesterday for Sunday dinner, and she didn't get 5 feet past the door before 6 or 7 of us already were holding her and passing her around. So that little baby never touches the ground. Jude is number 5. Jude and I really get along and connect in the ways of filmmaking and sports. He is a wonderful cinematographer. He helps a lot with our Arndt photo and cinema business. He's also a court reporter, which a few of the other guys are, and Dad is a retired reporter as well. James is number 6. He was the second Arndt to be married in the family, and he married the lovely Paige, who of course is our second sister-in-law. James is just like the fix-it guy. He's always been into sports. He's our tallest Arndt. When he was about 2, he thought that he could drive our family van. He used to tell Mom, and we were worried he would try it because I think he would have done a decent job if he could reach the pedals. Philip is number 7. When he was little, we called him Winnie the Pooh because he was the cute little blonde cherub-like baby, and he was such a great baby. We used to call him Chub because of his chubby cheeks. And he married his beautiful wife, Ainur, who is from Azerbaijan, and it's just wonderful having her here. Sometimes we'll call her Mary Elizabeth's twin because they're the same height and have a lot of similarities. Seth is number 8. He was born on Christmas Day, and he's always had a very organized, very logical mind. He's so good at that. He's always been athletic and fit. Sometimes we'll talk about something with a business or in politics, whatever else, and it's just so great. Number 9 is Jacob. Jacob was one of 3 brothers who had weddings last year. Jacob married his wife, Jo, this last year, and it's just an honor to have her and her family and how close we've become with all of them. Jacob is very, very athletic. He's our fastest Arndt. If you ever see him running around the bases, you've probably seen footage of that. But he's just a speedster, and he and I are always play catch. That's kind of our thing to do to strengthen our arms for softball. Number 10 is Nathan, and Nathan is probably the funniest baby if you look at the old footage. And now Nathan just has such a quirky sense of humor, and his wife Courtney is the same way. They're so much fun to be around. So many of our quotes and inside jokes come from Nathan, and some from when he was a baby and some now. He's always coming up with something new. He always has a fresh, goofy perspective at things, but he's also very serious-minded in the right ways. Number 11 is Mary Elizabeth. There were 10 boys in a row. I didn't think I'd ever have a sister, but I always wanted one. And I was just honored when I was in high school to find out that Mom and Dad were going to have a girl. And usually they didn't find out ahead of time, but they kind of accidentally found out. It was so amazing, looking forward to that. And she's such a wonderful girl, just takes after Mom so much. She's such an honorable, wonderful woman in every way. And I'm just honored to have her in the family. Caleb has an infectious laugh. He's so good with music. He's so good with the people. He leads with his heart like so many of the other guys do. And I just love him for that. He adds so much to the family. Peter's number 13. And he and David were about the same size growing up, and they were just inseparable. People thought they were twins. Peter's great to talk to about any topic because he'll sometimes, just for fun, take an unpopular opinion about a subject and then try to defend it. He starts a lot of fun conversations. Peter has such a great relationship with Jesus also. I could say that about everybody in our family, but I just recently, he's been on my mind for that, and I just love seeing that authenticity and just how he shines out wherever he goes. Number 14 is David. An interesting fact connected to David is my mom was 20 years old, actually on her 20th birthday, she found out she was expecting me. On her 43rd birthday, she had David. So it was a really interesting bookend. David is like the miniature version of me sometimes, I think, because we actually share partially the same name. I have a double first name. It's Paul Matthew, and his double first name is David Paul. David and I have always been really close. You know, we have a lot of the same interests. We love golf, and he's always been like the king of hobbies. He just loves, you know, like when we went out west, he was chasing down scorpions, looking for rattlesnakes. He likes making arrowheads and doing all sorts of things like that. David's just such a blast to be around and just such a sincere, humble guy. We really should make a video about each person because this is really just off the cuff. I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants talking here. But I wanted to at least give you guys a head start just so you know who the cast of characters in our large family is. And I'd be curious, can you guys remember all the names? If you watch this once or twice, do you have it all down? So that'd be quite an accomplishment if you can do that. You'd be ahead of most other people we know. You'd think I'd get tired of that video, but I just love every member of my family so much. And just watching them makes me appreciate them all the more. And you feel like family too. We've met so many of you in this last year. A lot of them actually from this video, this Meet the Family video, and some of the other ones that really took off. And anyway, without further ado, I'm going to toss it to the last video on our list. By far the most popular video of the year, and it's on the subject of groceries. And I'll see you on the other side to close out the episode. What does a monthly shopping trip look like in a family of 13 sons and 1 daughter? A lot of people have asked us that over the years, and the TLC channel actually focused on that quite a bit during the show they did on us many years ago. We did another TV series episode after that was completely all about groceries. It actually followed Mom and a few of the guys as they went to the store, and they had a big train of grocery carts and everything, and we'll show you that here in a minute. At the end, I'll come back and talk a little bit about what the present day is like as far as cooking and groceries, how we handle that. So many marriages, grandchildren now. Everybody is still very close though, even though there are different households now to juggle. So it's a really different dynamic, but in some ways there's more cooking than ever. So I'm going to talk about that when I come back.
Once a month we go and do a very enormous shopping where I'm buying a bulk amount of everything. Now that we're in this big house, I've got pantries that I can put the groceries in. We've got our linen closet upstairs that I put our extra paper goods in. Of course, we've got our 2 freezers downstairs and our extra refrigerator downstairs.
When we go shopping, Mom and I organize this list. She gives me this organized one, like separated into freezer foods, office supplies, seasonings, everything. And I just go around and check to see what things we need and what things we don't need.
During the month, the boys and Mary Elizabeth are always adding to my list by the computer. They'll actually put stick-ons and tape them to my monitor of things that they're suggesting that could be needed.
Things have been tight over the years, a real challenge, but somehow through timing and being resourceful and just really good people skills, finding good deals, finding the right timing for our purchase or to decide not to make a purchase. She's just navigated the treacherous rocks of a tight budget and brought us to this point, 31 years of marriage, a household of 16.
All right, we haven't bought any hardware stores.
Not with the trailer, we're not. Why would we do that?
You did buy hardware.
For the longest time, Seth has been on a quest to create the perfect pizza. Seth is going to use some unglazed tile that was cut to size to fit in the oven, and he's going to build the crust, which is supposed to be the perfect crust. He's going to try it out for the first time on this new tile, on this pizza tile, and he's hoping for good results.
I love having the trailer. The trailer's like a giant walk-in closet, so it's wonderful. It makes packing a whole load of groceries so much easier. But it is a bear to drive because, of course, I can't see out my back windows, and I'm not used to that. And the trailer's wider than the van, as if the van wasn't wide enough and big enough as it is. So I kind of feel like I'm driving a train. But it's doable. It's a little intimidating, but I can handle it. We end up with 6 carts usually, and usually it's 2 flatbeds and 4. These good sized carts are 3 flatbeds and 3 carts. We'll just have to see. I don't have a real idea of how big it's going to be yet today.
I've been told my job will be to basically get the heaviest stuff we're getting and tug it along. You know?
Yes?
Why don't flatbed wheels, why don't the back ones stay on the ground?
Oh, you want me to tell you why?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
I would guess it's for stability, but why not just have them always on the ground?
I usually start in the business supply area and get whatever it is we're needing for the business, and then head toward the paper goods and the dry goods. And then we head toward the water, which we're about to go to, and the cereals and the oatmeal. And we usually get a lot of that if you put two on top like this. Well, people ask me how many boxes of cereal we're doing weekly or monthly. Now, when we go shopping for a really big shopping time, we usually get boxes that are big enough to be like 3 boxes at a time. So, and this is a cheaper way for us to buy them, but that ends up, those very large ones, probably about 20 boxes a month. And then we'll have a lot of shopping in between during the month at a local store where we'll, fill in the different varieties. At the speed that we eat the cereal, nothing ever isn't fresh, so it doesn't hurt to buy things in bulk because we eat in bulk. So it works out well.
After all these years, she knows the inside layout of the stores. She knows exactly, almost to the penny how much something costs, and she knows the needs of her family.
The idea is not to backtrack. It's, again, a big enough job, we don't need to make it bigger. So if we can be efficient, we don't run out of energy before we run out of work. It seems to me you guys ought to be able to compact those 2 flatbeds. Why don't you bring your toilet papers up here? And then you get rid of the flatbed and bring back one of these, okay, Seth?
My job is to return this full flatbed. Wait, what do I return this to? Nato?
What?
What do I return this to?
Oh, I know where.
Where?
Over there.
Over there? Where over there?
I could just take it.
Okay.
I gotta put this away instead of Seth since he doesn't know where to put it. When we're done picking up everything, we'll go grab it and check out.
Okay, now the milk. Who do we have space? Okay, who wants to do milk?
8.
Mom said 14.
Yeah.
Now we're about a third of the way through our shopping. So we're actually making good progress. I'm through the first column here, and I've gotten almost everything on that. Okay, Caleb, go ahead and get 6 of the turkey burgers. We don't normally get lean proteins along the line of chicken and turkey because a lot of our guys are on high protein diets, trying to build up muscle and trim down the fats. And so we go through a lot of boneless, skinless chicken, and then quite a bit of turkey too.
The guys and I prefer foods that are nourishing, high protein, low calorie if possible. And high protein has really been helping the team to perform better on the field because people are lighter but stronger. And everybody's been getting in on the kick.
Okay, chicken. Why don't we go with 10 packs of that for now?
I think this has been a real spur for me to try to stay in shape too. If you can stay away from things that damage your body and then do some things that help your body, you're really tilting things in the direction where you can stay active for a long time. And my goal is to keep playing a long, long time into the future. Especially I'd like to be still there when David comes aboard, and that's creeping up. 6.5 years from now, David, our youngest, will be on the team.
Okay, so we need 2 of these mozzarellas, guys.
The cheese is for what cheese is best used for, pizzas. We plan to make some homemade pizzas sometime soon, and we've been trying to perfect some sort of a recipe that'll give you a light, crispy crust. We've made homemade pizzas before, but while they've been decent, they've never been exceptional, and that's what we want, exceptional pizza. I want to make the best pizza this world has ever seen. I want to eat the best pizza this world has ever seen.
Okay, now the milk. Who do we have space? Okay, who wants to do milk? Nathan, why don't you do milk on the bottom of yours? Over here. Get this skim milk, get 14 of them, okay?
8.
Mom said 14?
Yeah. 11. We have 14 gallons of milk here, and we usually keep one in the upstairs fridge and put the rest in the downstairs fridge so we need them.
You ready to hop in line?
You got messages from Dad.
From Daddy? What is it?
He asked me to get some stuff.
I don't know. It never seems to fail them when I'm out shopping. I get text messages from different people or phone calls of another item they just thought of. And of course, we're just about to check out, and Rick just thought of some cereals that are way over at that end of the store. So once we get everybody in line and get all, kind of reserve a line for us, I get started checking out. Nathan's gonna run over there and grab them. So that's why I bring these young legs with me. We end up with 3 very full big carts and 2 flatbeds, and I'm surprised we fed. Seth and Nathan have got to be good packers. This would normally take 6, so I'm really impressed. So now we'll see. I think we're gonna go a little over budget, but we're okay. We're kind of planning for it, and I got a lot more shopping than I thought I would, so I'm glad.
I could go order the pizza now, so I'll be ready in time.
Yeah, the boys are making sure I don't forget that for doing all this work that they get paid off with a pizza here at the store to bring home with us. So they're gonna order a whole pepperoni pizza.
So that, baby, I already nipped that in. $1,957.89.
No matter what I do, my hand always shakes writing the check. Even though I've got the money in there, just barely. It's just, I don't like writing checks for that much money. Well, I don't mind receiving checks for that much money, but I mind writing them. So, but we've got it saved up for it. We've been prepared for it, and it's what we've got to do monthly. And I'm glad the guys are such good eaters. They're so healthy. I mean, we could be doing this in doctor bills, and we're not. So I'm very grateful. Okay, thank you. So go ahead and get all you can and bring them back. While the boys get the rest of the carts out here, I'm going to go get the van and the trailer and pull it up in the floating zone. And that gives us kind of a out of the way area to load. But the trailer is a blessing. When it gets to this point, I'm very grateful I have the trailer. Why don't you just for now get the milk in here and maybe in the next tub if you want. Okay, and you can have guys pass things into you. Just kind of boss them around how you want, okay?
Sounds good. I'm basically just putting the freezer stuff with the freezer stuff and fridge stuff with the fridge stuff. It's not really an exact science or anything.
The whole idea is to make this easier when we get home to unpack and to put it away, because that's the biggest part of the job. Even though this is a good size part, we've got to find a place to put everything and put it in its place so that we can tell in a heartbeat what we're missing. Okay, did you guys, I guess, get the cards put away, and did you guys get your payoff, your pizza? So was it worth it? Pizza payoff or anything?
Almost.
Almost? Did you buy anything for pizza?
Depends on how much pizza, what kind of pizza.
There's something about teenage boys and pizza. It's like you can get them to paint a house for a piece of pizza. They've got more work in them and not enough pizza in them, huh? My top priority when we get home is to get the milk in the refrigerator and get the freezer foods loaded.
This should last us a while, a little while. Hello.
Helpers.
Hello?
Could you be in charge of getting the milk in first? It's in the very front right corner. This is daddy stuff. And then the freezer stuff, but first milk. My top priority when we get home is to get the milk in the refrigerator and get the freezer foods loaded.
I have the job of having to organize everything and make sure it all fits in the fridges and freezers. This should last us a while, a little while.
The cheeses, the lunch meats, and all will go here. The canned goods will go here to go into our canned good cabinet up here. So David and Peter have gotten to the point where they handle the canned good cabinet all by themselves. I'm surprised it wasn't that long ago where it was only Wizzy and David who did it. Mary Elizabeth and David were the ones who would do it, and David was the younger, and now here Peter and David are doing it by themselves. I'm really proud of them. They're doing a good job too.
This one?
Yeah, you have to take something else off. Does it fit? Don't drop it. Scoot away over to the left. Scoot away over to the fit?
Yeah.
Okay, you can put them there. Here's one more. This kitchen is my dream come true. For one, I just love the color of the cabinets, the island, just all the colors anyway, but it's just got so much storage space. That's wonderful. It used to be that we were so squished in our old kitchen, I'd barely have enough cabinets just to store the most minor things. I'd have to use what closet space we had.
In the old house, which was a big old drafty house, it kind of reminds me of the Bailey's house on It's a Wonderful Life. We had a kitchen that really wasn't very large. As the family grew, the kitchen shrank. There just wasn't room. Kathy did just an amazing job stretching out the space, the little space that was in the cabinets. Now that we've built the new house and she designed it after, 20, almost a quarter century of being a mom, we knew, and she knew especially, almost to the cubic inch, what she would need in terms of kitchen cabinets, pantry space. So when she shops, she's actually thinking ahead, where will this box fit? And it's an amazing ability, a combination of her natural gifts and wisdom and just years of experience on the job of being a mom.
It has made such a difference being out in the new house now, because now I've got cabinets and closets and extra freezer and just all so much more space. So now I can be as organized as I wanted to be all before.
One thing I've realized is that even though the old days kind of saw our family living in a kitchen that was very tight, we were happy and didn't know we were missing anything because we compared it to, well, what if we didn't have a house? And, there's an old saying, but it's true that, it's more important to have a home than a house. I really think our home was the relationship between all of us. The house happened to be the place we lived, the four walls around us. So I really think that if we had to ever go back to that old house and be crammed again, we'd make it one way or the other. And in fact, that would be a challenge to see, hey, how can we do it? But I am really glad we're out here. It just seems to have, just having this elbow space, and especially seeing Mom in the kitchen after all of those years at the other place, I'm just so happy for her, In fact, every day, a day doesn't go by that I look at the kitchen and I just celebrate the fact that she's got that kitchen now.
It's always a good feeling to me to have the pantries filled up again and to know that if I get busy with something else, everybody can still eat. So it's good news to me.
For the longest time, Seth has been on a quest to create the perfect pizza.
I'm going to have to sacrifice all my cheese.
I like pizza, like many Americans. But the pizza we always made, the homemade pizza, wasn't always that great.
It has been hard to perfect the crust. Whenever we would make a crust, sometimes they would turn out all right, but they would tend to be dense. And he really wants a cracker thin crust pizza like you would find at a pizza joint.
We found that one essential part of making a good pizza is to cook it on a pizza stone. It sucks the moisture out of the crust, making it light and airy and crispy, like a crust should be.
Instead of using pizza stones, Seth is going to use some unglazed tile that was cut to size to fit in the oven.
I cut a few inches off of them so they would fit into the ovens, and then cleaned them off, got all the dust and stuff off of them. And I think they're all ready to go.
This is a completely new crust, a completely new way of cooking pizza at a completely new temperature. Everything's new. I have no experience in this situation.
A lot of things can go wrong.
A lot of things can go wrong, and I'm just trying to use common sense to try to make a good one.
You should toss it up like you always see people doing, James.
Yeah, Mamma mia, I'm making you pizza.
Oh, you can do it. Higher.
Yeah, watch it being loud. That would have made good TV.
That would add some flavor. I don't know. I think it takes a special touch to get the pizza right. I don't know if they're just going to get it by winging it like this.
I'm not quite sure how we're going to transfer these big floppy pizzas onto a pizza stone in there, because those have to be preheated. They have to be up at 475 degrees. And so we can't just put them on like a pan as we normally do. So I guess we'll, just like everything else, we'll just have to wing it.
Wing it, fly by the seat of our pants, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
It appears to be hot.
I don't see how James is going to transfer that pizza, especially since he put no oiling or anything underneath this.
Hey, now you listen. We made mistakes. Okay, I'm going to have to sacrifice all my cheese. Hey, it's okay. Hey, I never said I thought this through. I'm going to have to clean up that cheese on the floor.
There you go, Mike.
I admit this could have gone better.
But really, I'm not upset. It's fine. I'm just trying to avoid James's problem of his pizza falling apart as he transferred it. Can you open up the oven?
Yeah.
Someone. I'm eager to see how your pizza turns out, James.
Here we go.
Yeah, that's not the prettiest pizza, but it might work.
Bravo. I think it will be tasty, but still kind of soft and gooey.
Hey, look at that. That's a good sign. It's not even. That's white, which it should be darker, but it is standing up by itself to some extent. Listen.
Crunch.
A slight crunch.
It has potential. It's not going to be longer. I think this is going to work.
I think this is surpassing my expectations already, and that was only the first pizza. I'm eager to see how mine turns out. That's looking good to me. There we go. Okay.
What's your verdict, Seth?
Well, that's definitely a crispy crust.
They've come a long way when it comes to the crust. The crust is much better. We got that thin cracker crust they were shooting for. Mission accomplished. The pizza still could use a little improving, although it's good. It's definitely a step up. So progress is being made, and I look forward to the next round of pizzas.
And things definitely have changed since that was filmed. We no longer have, 16 people every day, 3 meals a day, or, having to kind of organize that among us and Mom and Mary Elizabeth and others who are involved in cooking. It's not as regular now, but in some ways it's larger than ever because the family's expanded so much. There are all these marriages in the family, all these new in-laws, grandchildren, friends. The whole circle's expanded. In some ways it's bigger than ever because the scale has increased. So I guess it's become a little more irregular in a way, because sometimes you'll have 5 people there, and other days you might have 50 or 100 if it's some huge gathering or event. Mom and Dad's house is still like what I describe as the town center. It's like a bed and breakfast. Our days at Sam's and Costco are just getting started. I think we're going to be good customers of theirs for many years in the future as our circle expands. Well, that's it. Those are the top 5, and this could be changing all the time. We can do another list at some point, but I just wanted to thank you for being a part of our channel, and I promised you I'd give you a little preview for new content that's coming out soon. And there are 2 episodes in particular I'm very excited about. One of them we're calling Property Tour, and we did one a while ago that was labeled similar to that, but this one's going to be a little more centered around like the backyard, the ball field, and we're going to bounce around and show footage of some memories and some history involving each parts of the outdoor piece of the property. I mean, we could make hundreds of episodes with all the memories, but we're just going to pick a handful and show you some stories connected to each area of the property. The second preview is actually a tour of the house we're going to be doing, the interior. And that's one of our most asked about things. I remember back with the TLC channel, that was one of the big things they wanted to do. So our house has changed quite a bit over the years, especially with so many moving out. So we'll be giving you a look inside the family home and tell you about some history and some stories in there. And make sure you are subscribed to our channel if you are not already. Just hit the subscription button and the notification bell. That way you will not miss any of these episodes that are coming out.